Hey everybody, it's Meredith Miller with Inner Integration here with your Monday Sana Q&As. Just as a reminder, if you would like to ask a question one of these Q&As, please use the link below in the video description. And also, just to let you know, the holidays are coming up. I will have a slightly limited schedule so I can take some extra time for self-care during the holidays. So if you would like to schedule a coaching session before the end of the year, please do so as soon as possible so I can work you in on my schedule. So I'm going to read this question, which says, "Hi Meredith, can you shed some light on why I keep stalking my ex-narc? He emptied my bank account 9 months ago and I went no contact in as far as two-way communication taking place. Sadly, I'm still obsessed with his whereabouts. I blocked him on Facebook, but I stalk him with another account. I feel stupid for doing this and I want to move on. Thanks in advance." So honey, first of all, you're not alone, because how many other people are doing something similar? You know, either they're stalking their ex online or they're doing what I call drive-bys, right? Literally they're driving by or they're walking by a place that they know their ex is going to be or where their ex lives or works or whatever, because they just can't stop. What is that? That's the obsession part of the particular kind of PTSD or c-ptsd that survivors of narcissistic abuse go through, an obsession with the abuser. It's not uncommon. In fact, it's the most common. Like probably every single person listening to this is like, yeah, I was obsessed at one point, even in the aftermath, right? Because when you're in it, you're totally obsessed with that person. But even in the immediate aftermath, until you overcome that obsession, you're still obsessed with that person, with the past, with understanding, with them getting, with you getting revenge or them getting their karma for what happened. There's this obsession, and that obsession keeps you stuck. That obsession stops you from moving forward. So let's go into this because I think it's going to help a lot of you get over that big hurdle. Why? Why do we get obsessed? You're just trying to understand what happened, who that person is, why they are what they are, why they are how they are, why they would do that to you. You're just trying to wrap your head around it. And I'm so sorry that you went through that, but the obsession is not going to help you. It's not going to help you heal. It's not going to help you understand. It's not going to help you come to any sort of inner peace about what happened. It's not going to help you forgive. It's not going to help you let go. You're just not going to be able to move on. You're going to feel stuck, right? And bad things are going to keep happening, and all these, unfortunate and sort of negative experiences will keep happening because it's like you're attracting that. So first of all, I want to tell you, great job cutting him off, right? Cutting off contact with him, what you call two-way contact. So now your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go completely no contact, which means no more stalking, right? Because that's complete no contact. Right now, you're still in contact. Your eyes are in contact with his Facebook page, which means it's still going on, right? So you don't have to feel stupid. You're not stupid. You are emotionally addicted. You are not stupid. You are emotionally addicted to whatever fix you're getting from stalking his Facebook page. So instead of stalking him, what you want to stalk instead is, what is that inside you, right? What is it inside you that's making you want to do that? You're indulging in focusing your attention on him and on the past. So you're living in the past. Your subconscious is living in the same environment that it was living when you were actually in the relationship. Like your body and your subconscious can't tell the difference that you're no longer together, that you're no longer in contact with him. So that's why you're not getting better. That's why you're living in the same emotional state. So my challenge to you is become the stalker of your inner dialogue. And that comes from Carlos Castaneda, who wrote a bunch of wonderful books. He was an anthropologist who studied with a Mexican, kind of like a shaman, a mystic, a teacher. And he taught him to stalk your inner dialogue. So your inner dialogue, right? It's all the tapes that are playing in your mind. It's your self-talk. It's a constant inventory of your belief systems. you're talking to yourself all day long. Like whether you realize it or not, you're talking to yourself all day long. And that inner dialogue is what tells you what's your reality all day long. It's constantly reinforcing the reality in the world that you believe in. So you want to shift your inner dialogue, which means you want to shift your thought processes in order to change your perspective. Your perspective change is what creates your new reality. This is essentially the core of shamanism. It's shifting your perception about the way you see the world, about the way you see your past, so that you can change the reality that you're living in. So this is where you need to start if you want to change your life. This is the core. So in shamanism, they call this stopping the world. And stopping the world just means that silence, the inner peace, where that dialogue isn't all the time trying to tell you what's real, what isn't, what's your reality. Now this takes practice, right? And the first thing is that you have to actually notice what you're thinking about all day. And the more you notice what you're thinking about all day, the more you're able to stop those thought patterns, use this powerful technology that I've mentioned in several of my videos and other Q&As, which is the cancel, 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 delete, 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 right? I learned that in theta healing. That's how we upgrade belief systems. You catch the thought going by, because what happens is it goes thought, emotion, behavior. Thought, emotion, behavior, thought, emotion, behavior. The thought comes by. If you don't catch it there, the emotion comes up to meet it. It creates this perfect storm, and then you do something about it. You have a behavioral response to that thought and that emotion, right? So in order to stop that, you want to go cancel, 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 delete, delete, delete. One of those as soon as the thought comes, so that way you're working on deleting that thought so it stops coming by. And then you want to reframe or redirect your mind and your focus to something else. Maybe even just to your breath, right? It could just be as simple as, right? Just releasing, like whatever that was. As you breathe in, you're breathing in fresh, pure, new energy and air, and you're breathing and exhaling out all of that old toxic stuff from the past. And what you'll notice is the more conscious you get of this, and it takes practice, like the first 30 days are going to be really rough. That's the hardest part because you're overcoming the inertia. Like the first 7 days, there's major inertia on this that's stopping you from doing this. But the more conscious you become of your thoughts, the more consciously you interrupt the thoughts that you don't want to have, you're interrupting your inner dialogue, the more silence and gaps you're creating in that inner dialogue. And in those moments when the inner dialogue stops, infinite potential is there. You're able to see life differently. Insights can come in. Revelations come in. Revelations and insights don't come when you're busy, busy, busy and like churning and churning and churning. Like, have you ever had a problem, right? Right. And you're just like thinking and thinking and thinking about it, right? I think we're all there. And so like the more you think about it and the more you think about it, the more it's just like it's impossible to solve. And it's like you have to step away from the problem, go do something else. And then maybe you're washing dishes or you're taking a shower or you're walking or whatever you're doing. And all of a sudden it's like a bolt of lightning hits you. And you're like, wow, there's the insight. There's the revelation. It came in the moment of silence. It didn't come when you were working in that inner dialogue. And it was in that moment that you were able to see a different perspective, which meant your reality then changed. So become the stalker of your inner dialogue. Become more mindful of your thoughts. Your current thinking got you here to where you are. So if you want to change where you're at, you have to think differently. So notice what all those negative, delusional, self-destructive, and self-deceptive thoughts are. Notice them. Right? These are currently below the line of consciousness for you. They're in your subconscious, which is like 88% of your mind and your power. The conscious mind is only a small percent of that. So your subconscious is magnetizing experiences, people, situations to you. Your subconscious is what's guiding your behavior. Remember, the thought the emotion, the behavior. So you want to interrupt that process. So what I would recommend, besides this technology that I was teaching you with the delete, the cancel, and then the redirect or reframe, or even simply just focusing on the breath, other things you can do are just get up and go take a walk outside. Like when you're in that point of like obsession and you're like about to go to his Facebook page, close the computer, shut the phone off, leave the phone at home, and get outside for a walk, right? And just start walking. Like every time you get that compulsive urge to go obsess about that, whether you're actually going to go stalk his page or you're just going to obsess about it in your mind, go walk, go breathe, go get some fresh air. And when you're walking around, again, this is also another technique that Carlos Castaneda teaches from his teacher. Don't really focus on anything, because if you're like, oh, look at that leaf, it's so pretty and it's growing just like that, and oh, and this and that, oh, and this and that. Now you're like in inner dialogue and the thoughts are going, right? So you're not really at any kind of peace. You're not really finding that silence. So you don't really want to focus your eyes on anything, because your inner dialogue will just run with it. Oh, and that leaf, it reminds me of this and that thing that happened before. And all this stuff goes. So soften your gaze, your eyes, soften your gaze, focus on your breath, and focus on your feet. Focus on feeling and on seeing with your feet. With every step that you take, you're feeling the ground, the earth come up to meet your feet, right? My teacher, Don Americo in Peru, would take us walking in the dark in the mountains. I mean, there was no light. It was pitch black. He would not allow us to use the flashlights, and he would teach us to learn to see with our feet. And it was terrifying at first. But what you learn is that when it's dark is when you learn how to see the best. Because you learn how to see with a different sense without your physical eyes. It's like an inner sight. It's the insight, perhaps. And so you want to be conscious of that as you're walking. Conscious of your breath, conscious of your feet, and just feeling the earth underneath your feet. What does that feel like? And as you concentrate on that, you take all that energy out of your head, you bring it down to your feet, you bring it down to your breath. That's very powerful technique. It sounds so simple, and it's a very powerful technique. We just don't do it, right? Brendan Burchard, one of my favorite coaches, talks about, common sense doesn't mean common practice, right? And so that's where we're at with a lot of these things. Another thing you can do, like if you just can't stop yourself and you don't want to go outside, or it's late at night and you're afraid to go outside, or whatever is going on, maybe the weather's horrible, go take a cold shower. Just take a really cold shower. And that moment when you step into the cold water and it's like you're just trying to catch your breath. You're not obsessing about him in that moment. You're definitely not. It's definitely taking your distraction away. It's distracting you away from that. And the cold water is like purifying. Like it's purifying that energy. And you won't even have the energy to invest in thinking about him, because all you can think about is survival, like just catching your breath and just not freezing to death. And then get yourself warm again, right? And another thing you can do is to exercise. Some people like to do really intensive physical exercise, like boxing with like one of those boxing bags, or maybe they like to dance, or maybe they like to do the HIIT exercise, HIIT. I think it's like high intensity interval training or something like that. Like when you're training with your body, when you're doing exercise, you have to be completely 100% focused on what you're doing. You have to be, otherwise you'll get an injury, something could happen. You have to be totally focused on what you're doing. The intensity of the situation is almost encouraging you to focus on the moment. So maybe you want to sign up for a new class, like something you haven't done before. You want to get yourself involved in this new exercise class, and that like for that hour or that 90 minutes or however long that period of time is, you're not going to be obsessing about him, because you're going to be fully present, focused on the moment, on the exercise, on your physical body. You're getting your energy out of your head and down into your body. So those are my suggestions for dealing with the obsession. Become the stalker of your inner dialogue. This is powerful, powerful, powerful information and an incredibly life-changing process when you put it into practice. So give yourself 30 days of working at this, like all day long, every day, being vigilant, being the stalker of your mind. What you'll see is that after those first 30 days, it gets a lot easier. Like you suddenly become so much more aware of your inner dialogue. And like when you have one of those negative or obsessive thoughts, it's like your subconscious is now on an alarm system. Before, your subconscious was like, yeah, that's what we do. That's what it is. That's reality. But now, after a period of training, your subconscious is like, whoa, something's not right here. What is it? Oh, it was just that thought that I just had. That's right. That's right. Now I feel this emotion because I didn't catch the thought. And now I'm feeling the desire to go get a fix and look on his Facebook page. So you become much more conscious of things. And the more conscious you are of your behaviors, the more conscious you are of your emotions, the more conscious you are of your thoughts, the more power you have over your life and your reality. So I'm sending a big hug to you.